Hello folks, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then also welcome. The topic of today's video is about discomfort, meaning comfort. And at the surface level this might sound a little contradictory. How does that even make sense? But when we deep dive into the topic, it will make a lot more sense. Now, before I get onto the main part of this topic, I'm taking shelter behind my van because it's quite windy here in Portugal. So not the most picturesque scenery, but you will get a little bit of a glimpse as to where I am currently at the end of the video. So really, the meaning behind today's video is how you can have a relationship with discomfort and comfort in order to create a more aligned and purposeful life. So I think many of us have heard of the good old saying of hard choices, easy life, easy choices, hard life. And I believe that it has to do with two key things, which is voluntary struggle and chronic stressors. So what does it really mean when I talk about voluntary struggle? That is choices that we make on a daily basis that we have the option to pick to do or not to do. This could be actions, habits, reactions, mindset and emotions and how we react to them. And at times these things might put us in a temporary state of stress or struggle, but on a long-term basis it actually ends up going towards where we want to head in terms of being a better person, having better relationships, better health, mentally, physically, and so on. Now, in regards to chronic stressors, this is something that happens to us on a regular basis, and perhaps at the surface level doesn't seem like it puts a lot of stress to our lives on a day-to-day, but over a long period of time it accumulates and makes our lives a lot more difficult to live. It could impact our mental well-being, physical well-being, our relationships with people, our relationships to ourselves, and also keep us away from reaching a better version of ourselves. So some examples of voluntary struggles could be making the choice of making your bed or going to the gym, going for a run, eating healthy food over eating crappy food. And in regards to chronic stressors, this could be things like constant noise outside if you're living in a big city. It might not seem on a day-to-day basis like it is a big thing in the moment, but over a prolonged period of time, it has a big impact. It could be things like not getting enough sleep. On a day-to-day, you might feel like, okay, yeah, it's cool, I'll catch up. But over a prolonged period of time, you start to feel it physically, mentally, and so on. So I suppose a big key difference is the temporary or long-term nature of these things. And I do want to stress that chronic stressors are not good for us. And that is really something that is going to be detrimental to you. And it is important to analyze what these are in your life. When it comes to voluntary struggles, I think that there is a lot of importance to have these things in your day-to-day life. Because it has a temporary nature, it's not going to affect you in the long term negatively. Actually, on the contrary, I believe that it will give you a lot of benefit in the long term. So I think these things have a lot of relation and importance, especially in today's day and age, in comparison to what we used to live our lives like, let's say a couple hundred years ago or 1,000 years ago. Our ancestors would have a lot of daily struggles that we no longer have. And on one side, there is beauty in that because we don't have to worry about having food. We can go to the shop and get our food. But on the flip side, it means that we are given a lot of choices on a daily basis that we need to make in order to either keep us going towards a better version of ourselves or to keep us away from it. At the same time, there's a lot of things that our ancestors didn't have to worry about on a day-to-day basis that we now have to worry about. These are things like constant notifications from our mobile devices, the instant gratification we get psychologically from things like social media, the levels of noise and pollution where we live in cities, for example, and the lack of access to nature. So I think it is more important than ever to really start to analyze the voluntary struggles that we can make on a daily basis to put ourselves in a temporary state of discomfort in order to have a more comfortable life in the long term. I definitely believe that our purpose here as a human as well is to go through some sense of struggle in order to have a purpose in life. And that will really depend on each and every individual. So you really need to have some time with yourself to think about what your life values are, what your goals are in life, whether you want to have a family or not, what kind of relationships you have with others, with yourself, what are important things to you in your life. And then you will know what kind of struggles you need to pick in order to come closer to these things, to have better relationships, to have better health, to have better mental well-being and better relationship with yourself. But I do have one practical method that you can use that I have actually come across about 5 or 6 years ago when I was doing some research into how I can set some goals and analyze my year at the end of each year to really think about what I've actually accomplished. Because it's easy to think you remember things, but I think we do often forget the accomplishments we have had, as well as the things we do on a daily basis that actually keep us away from becoming more aligned, because we seem to be able to just dismiss these things and forget about them and forget about the impact that these things have on our lives. So this method is actually extensively used in personal growth, business growth, and it is the 80-20 analysis. So at the surface level, all it means is you look at the things that take 20% of effort and give you 80% of results. Now, with relation to this topic, what you will want to do is to take some time out, about 10, 15, 20 minutes, put yourself in a place where you know you won't be disturbed, you've got nothing else to do, you won't have any distractions, put your phone away. Then you take a piece of paper, a pen, and you divide this paper with a line in the middle. And on one side, you want to put negative or a minus, and on the other side, you want to put positive or a plus. Now that you've got a table with two sides, you want to start putting things down without overthinking them. This is brainstorming. This is actually just putting things on paper. Don't think logically. Don't attach yourself to these things too much. So on the negative side, you want to put things in your life that you are currently doing. It could be activities, habits. It could be things that exist in your life that negatively impact your life, that you don't want to do anymore. Now, on the flip side, on the positive side, you want to start looking at things that you are currently doing or have done in the past, but maybe you stop doing them regularly, that have a positive impact on your life. Now, again, I want to stress, don't overthink it. Don't think logically about this. Just put things down. If it comes to your head, put it down as a bullet point. Once you've had about 5-10 minutes of doing this, or you think you've exhausted all the ideas you have in your head, then you want to go on to step number 2, and that is to go through the negative first and mark down or highlight the top 5 things that take about 20% of effort to eliminate, but give you about 80% of detriment in your life, or would give you 80% of extra benefit in your life if you were to eliminate them. So as an example, it could be that every morning you wake up, you pick up your phone and look at social media, and you're wasting half an hour or an hour each day on social media. Actually, maybe it would be quite easy for you to put some limits on your phone, or to completely keep your phone away from your bedside, and that would only take a little bit of effort and give you a big result in the future. And I do want to say that this 80-20% rule doesn't have to be exactly 80% and 20%. Of course, there is no specific amount there. It just means something that doesn't take a lot of effort, that does give you a big benefit. Now, once you've done that, you want to move on to the positive side and do the exact same thing. You want to highlight the things that you're currently doing or want to be doing that would take only 20% of effort to continue doing, to build up the habit, for example, but would really make your life better. And now that you've done this exercise, you've got 5 negatives and 5 positives. You want to go a bit deeper into what can you do as actionable steps every day to start implementing these things, or to start eliminating these things in your life. So realistically, the best way to approach this is to think about what steps you can do daily. This could be habits or certain questions you can ask yourself when you are falling into these negative habits to start to eliminate them. For example, you meditate on a daily basis for 5 minutes and it has an amazing effect on your body and your mind because you feel more rested, you feel more mindful. Maybe you could do another meditation just before you go to bed on a daily basis for 5 extra minutes. It's not a lot of time, but you might end up being more rested the next day. You might be sleeping better and also have less thoughts in your head before you go to bed. So you decide that you're going to keep track of this habit on a daily basis, that you're going to be meditating 5 minutes before bed, as well as doing your daily meditation in the morning. And I do want to really drive the point across that with anything like this, consistency is key, as well as to be gentle to yourself, because at the end of the day, progress isn't linear and you are going to have some setbacks, and that's okay. As long as you know that long term you are pursuing a higher, better version of yourself and you are analyzing, which is the key point here, you are actually looking at things that are detrimental to you or good to you, so you are becoming more aware, then that is absolutely fine. Remember, the more often you do this, the more aware you will become, and the easier this will become as well. You will build a habit of resilience. You'll be able to bounce back from setbacks a lot better and a lot quicker. And you could look at this as, let's say, a monthly accountability workshop for yourself. So you could decide that you're going to do this on a specific day each month after the month end, maybe the first weekend each month. Maybe you want to follow the moon cycles and do it every full moon, and you're going to be sitting down, giving yourself half an hour of time, going through this with a piece of paper or a notebook and analyzing this and becoming aware of where your progress is going. Are you actually acting on those goals or those steps that you've set yourself? Are you eliminating these negative habits? Are you stuck somewhere? Once you know that you are stuck somewhere, it's a lot easier to get unstuck than if you are not aware of it. So that's really it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that this exercise does help you. And if you do have extra tips for other people, then please comment down below. Maybe you've got questions or you want to share your struggles, then please do so below and I will reply. And if you're enjoying these videos, then please subscribe and click the notification bell, and then you'll be updated when I post a new video. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. And for the time being, I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love.